Okay, now just stop. I see your hand right there over the dislike button, and just don't press it. Hear what I have to say first, okay? This series is called, look at the title. There is a question mark after worst rappers in the game, right? You know what that means? That means we're asking a question. Oh, that comes off as too condescending. That means we're asking a question. This series is asking the question, are these rappers the worst rappers in the game? This is not me saying the rappers in this series are bad. I've had people like Travis Scott and Migos on before, who I've said in those videos, spoiler, that I really like. So I may like the rapper I'm doing in this episode, I might not, but this is going to be the new intro for every worst rappers in the game episode. Just hear what I have to say until the end, then you can leave your hate comment. Thank you for listening, and let's start this episode. What's poppin', my G's? Today we're going to be talking about Stokely Goulburn, also known as Ski Mask the Slump God. He's gained a lot of popularity recently as a SoundCloud rapper, and a lot of his recognition, I guess, could be attributed to XXXTENTACION. I stole that one from Anthony Fantano. I'm sorry, I'm running out of names for X, so I have to steal them sometimes, I'm sorry. So, in order to prepare for this video, I listened to 4 Ski Mask projects, those being Very Rare Lost Files, Drowning Desiigner, Slaps for My Drop Top Minivan, and You Will Regret. So, what do I think of Ski Mask after listening to all these projects? Well, today we will be answering that age-old question. Actually, it's only like an 11-month-old question, because that's when I started this series, but today, we are going to be asking the question, is Ski Mask the Slump God one of the worst rappers in the game? Let's find out.
Drop low, whizzically because you can see the rest. Tryna run at the money like me the man. The hickers, the candy, umbrella, Peter Pan. I'm off the coca, I need some soda vet. She let my diamond well as some Wonder Bread.
And for part 1, we're going to be looking at his voice and delivery. Now, like I said at the start, Ski is from Florida, and I've criticised a few rappers originating from Florida before, such as Kodak Black, for slurring their words a bit too much. But people in the comments, they just told me, oh, it's just a Florida thing, that's what they do, that's how they speak. Clearly though, that doesn't apply to everyone, because Ski Mask, well, maybe occasionally being a bit mumbly, doesn't really slur his words that much at all. He can rap just fine without constantly sounding like he has a mouthful of honey. I was honestly perfectly fine with his voice throughout most of his songs. There were very few times that it annoyed me, however that does bring me to a big problem that I did have with his voice and his delivery, and that is the very goofy voice he sometimes does for his ad-libs or even just in his lyrics. I get that it's just to add to his animated style of rapping, but all it does is kinda bug me. This is really obvious on songs like Baby White.
Feeling bro, step in. Feeling like the 4, I feel fantastic. Which one would you be though? Which one? Mr. Fantastic, cause I'm money like elastic. Burberry, church, Rico, you smoke oregano, I'm smoking on the campus. I'ma be real, you know when I get that most people probably find that entertaining, but it annoys me and it actually takes away from the song for me. Rambo is another song that has kinda goofy ad-libs. That does knock his rating down a little bit for me. Also, on the song Gone, Ski experiments a little with some auto-tune singing. While I want to say that I like it, it almost really sounded like a bootleg Travis Scott on there, which really kind of distracts me from enjoying the song as a whole. But overall, I don't have a ton of complaints. Like I said, it's hard for me to come up with a bunch of compliments for his voice because, as I said at the start, it's just perfectly fine. He's not too loud with his delivery, his voice isn't slurred, he has a kind of smokiness to his voice. I don't know if that's a good word for it, you know, his voice has that kind of sound to it, you know? I think that was probably an awful way to describe it, but it has that smoky sound to it. But nonetheless, I feel like his voice is pretty good, so Ski gets a 7 out of 10 for his voice overall. At least we're off to a pretty good start on this one. And for part 2, we're going to be talking about his flow. Now this is the part you're probably all interested in, and I can tell why. Ski Mask has a godly flow most of the time. Like, I knew he had a good flow going into things, but I didn't expect his flow to be as good as I actually found it to be. It's one of the aspects of his music that makes it so entertaining to listen to. Well, I don't even know where to start when talking about his flow, to be honest.
I guess the song Billy and Mandy is a great example of his stellar flow.
He made a stunt on a jet ski. After that, mom bike your bitch like a 10-speed. My bitch heat like lava girl, and we drip the boats in the same like she missing her. Keep her strapped in like a nympho. Beat in my hand like a pinto.
He just rides so smoothly over that beat, it's pretty magical. In my opinion, the song that has the catchiest flow to me is Where's the Blow. That kind of tripled up rhyme scheme flow he uses at the start just gives the track so much bounce.
Who that at the front door? Think that that's a crib, man. Pay that man a total no tip, man. Pack it out, pack, got my eyes low, it, man. Now I'm on go, let it rent, man. Ay, go. Where's the blow?
His word placement is just phenomenal. People hyped up his flow so much when they talked to me about Ski, and I thought maybe they were just overhyping him, but they really weren't, like, not at all. Rambo, I Like Bricks, Like a Soccer Mom, Young Voorhees. All these tracks have expertly crafted and above all else, entertaining flows. Now of course I can't just talk about good things about his flow the whole time because we have to look at the good and the bad of everything that we look at in this series. You know, there has to be some positives and criticisms for everything. And there are a couple negative points that I have to make about Ski's flow. Now, one of them is that Ski has pretty much his own version of an A flow, but instead of saying A, Ski Mask will say It's an flow.
Fucking telling me sitting nosebleeds like a coke key. Eat on that bit like some pork and rice. Brought my dog with me, adventure time. I put some lean in that lemon lime. I got the sauce, taste like lemon lime.
Don't get me wrong, it works, but when it gets to the point where he uses it so much that you just kind of get used to it, and every time you hear him doing flow, you're like, I've heard this before. He does it on songs like Where's the Blow, The Human Centipede, and quite a few other songs. I think he does it on Baby Wipe too. Also, because he has set such a high standard for himself, there are like 3 or 4 songs where I actually kind of find his flow uninteresting, but that's just because he has set such a high standard for himself. Apart from that though, it's not much else but praise for Ski. I am gonna give him a 9 out of 10 in this segment, which is definitely the best score that I've ever given for flow before, and it potentially may be the highest score that I've ever given in this series before, so congratulations to Ski on that. And for part 3, we're going to be looking at his lyrics. This will probably be the lowest scoring segment out of all of these, because while Ski is not awful lyrically, he's not a great lyricist by any stretch of the imagination. Now, a lot of people misconstrue what I mean when I say that. When I say that, I don't mean that they're bad lyrically. When I say someone's not a very lyrical artist, I'm not saying they're bad lyrically, I'm just saying they're not amazing lyrically. I said it on my Tyler the Creator albums ranked video. I said Tyler is not super lyrical, and I believe that's true. He's not super lyrical, he's not bad lyrically, he's just kind of in the middle. But a lot of people took that as me saying he was lyrically bad. That's not what I'm saying at all, and that's not what I'm saying for Ski here. I'm just saying Ski isn't incredible lyrically. What I will say for him though is stylistically, he is interesting with his lyrics. He usually uses a lot of pop culture references and raps, you know, with very cartoonish and animated themes throughout. He's got references to the Fantastic Four, some Pokemon references, and song titles that reference multiple popular cartoons. It's definitely something that's mostly fun to listen to. But after a while, I kinda wished he would start to talk about something a bit more conceptual. The only song that comes close to this, I think, is Death is Long, where the first verse kinda discusses some of Ski's thoughts on death.
You pick up on the mistakes, death is over with the weight, treat you like we're gonna break, faith, I think that death is a present, bitch, it is the answer to everything.
Then on the second verse, he talks about what he enjoys about living, so it does have a fairly cool concept. There aren't many songs like this though. Also, one thing I think Ski has a habit of is using simplistic similes a bit too much. Now, I kind of feel like there's almost like a fine art to making like an intelligent simile, and then again, even then, it's just a matter of opinion. You know, some people might find certain similes intelligent while others won't, but personally, I feel like Ski uses too many basic similes. And the reason that this stood out to me, and it's a point that I'm bringing up, is because he uses similes a lot in his music. They come up really often. I'll play for some examples for you that I personally thought were a bit too standard.
huh? And I must assume that's why you sour like a kraut, huh?
There's a lot more, but that gives you an idea. Overall, I think Ski can be pretty interesting with his colourful and wacky lyrics, but sometimes it just feels like it's too many references and not much else. I'm gonna give him a 5 out of 10 here. Not terrible lyrically, not amazing lyrically. Just right where I think he sits. Now for part 4, we're going to be looking at his beat selection. Ski Mask definitely doesn't have bad production, but I wouldn't say his production is amazing, and there's a lot of beats that I'm not really a fan of. However, let's start with the things that I did like in his production. One thing that I really appreciated was all the beats on the slaps for My Drop Top Minivan mixtape. I loved all the pop culture samples that he used here on the songs, or that his producers used, and I loved every single beat on the short 4-track long mixtape. The intro even samples that Making My Way Downtown song, which I found hilarious.
Hey, look at it, look at it. Flexing time with sauce. Hey, downtown.
It was a bit of a nothing track, but the beat was funny. Before I heard this mixtape though, I'd say my favourite beat of his would be the one found on Life is Short.
Life's short, smoke a port, on a port, in New York, calculating like a dork. Kill Bill tracks.
I really love the dark sound it has to it with the piano and that high-pitched plucked string sound. I also really like the beat he used on the song Energy. It was different to most of the beats found throughout his You Will Regret tape, and it's not too often that he raps over those kind of guitar-based instrumentals. However, this does bring me to the stuff that I don't really like about his production. Now here we're starting with the first, and obviously most obvious point, the one that I always bring up, and I always will, is that I do not like distorted beats. And that is exactly what can be found on the Drowning Desiigner mixtape on the songs Rip Roach and Take a Step Back. Now I'd already heard those songs when I was doing research for the Worst Rappers in the Game video on X, but I think it is worth noting because while I listened to that mixtape I had to listen to those songs, and to be fair to Ski, he doesn't use distorted beats a lot, so it's still not a huge downside to his production. It's just that when it is used, it really feels like a waste of a song to me. Also, I feel like his beats can occasionally get a bit too repetitive and similar sounding. For example, on You Will Regret, I felt like the beats for the songs Adventure Time, Ever Took a Tab, and Winnie just kind of blended together.
Midnight with him, man with him. Your name on my. Wanna hit it, but I get paid that. But it's been on that walk, while I'm eating on the crumpet. Then you looking like Final Fantasy. Boy, you niggas like Barry Rich, I got no honey. I just got my tummy. Make sure you mow that lawn. Snakes in the ground, little dummy.
While they don't sound exactly the same, they're based off of the same sounds, and for me it made them lose their identity as individual songs, especially because they were placed one after the other on that tape. I also feel like the beat for H2O kinda killed the song. The flows on here from X and Ski were absolutely amazing, they were great to listen to, but I feel like the song was really jabbed down by those lasery synth jabs. I mean, to be fair, the hook also kind of sucked on that song, so that didn't help, but the beat I think was the main issue. I also really didn't like the beat on the song Kate Moss, I just feel like that one had a really cheap sound to it. Overall, I'm pretty mixed on how I feel about his beats. They're not bad, some of them are great, but there's a lot of things that hold his production back from being amazing in my eyes. That is why I'm gonna give Ski a 6 out of 10 here. I'd really love to hear some of those more cartoon / pop culture sampled beats because they are amazing to listen to. Now for part 5, we're going to be talking about my overall enjoyment of Ski Mask music. I did see a few people actually say that they didn't think I would like Ski because I really wasn't a fan of X. And while I can see the similarities, they are two completely different artists. And I love Ski Mask's music. Obviously, the most enjoyable thing is that he can make any song listenable with his flow, but I also love the image he has going for him and some of the stuff that he raps about. I definitely think my favourite tape from him is Drowning Desiigner. I really like the vibe that all the tracks have, and I feel like his flows are best on here. It's weird, because there's a fair few songs I don't like on this project, but the ones that I do like, I replay very often. As for my least favourite, that would be You Will Regret. I don't think it's a bad tape, but I think his other three are definitely better. I definitely think he used the goofy ad-libs and vocals a bit more on this tape too, which might have contributed to me not enjoying it as much. But overall, like I said, I am a fan of Ski Mask now, and I'm gonna listen to him regularly in the future. I am gonna give him an 8 out of 10 for the enjoyment here, and I am definitely gonna be on the lookout for any music that he drops in the near future. And now finally, it's time to give my overall verdict and ranking of Ski Mask the Slump God against all the other rappers that we have looked at so far in this series. So, overall, Ski Mask scores 35 out of 50, which is a really great score for this series. This puts Ski Mask in 4th place, which is just above Lil Yachty. Believe me, I don't even know why Lil Yachty's so high up on the list anymore. I just found his music funny, and that gave him some points. But he is above Yachty by a large margin, so don't panic there. And it puts him just below our 3rd spot, which is Migos, by 0.5 points, so it was a really close draw there. Now this works perfectly for me, because while I think Ski is definitely a better rapper than Migos or Rae Sremmurd, I find Migos's and Rae Sremmurd's music more accessible. Like, there's more situations that I can listen to it in, whereas Ski Mask is just perfect as that niche animated rapper that you listen to for fun. So yeah, I think he's a better rapper than them, but there's less situations that I would listen to his music in, even though I really do like him as a rapper. I was definitely impressed by what I heard, and I am happy to say that I've found another rapper that I really like through this series. Well guys, that is going to be it for the video today. I hope you guys all enjoyed this one. Next worst rappers in the game will probably be on Famous Dex, because he's been requested a lot, all the way back since episode 2. So I feel like it would definitely be good to do him next, get that one out of the way. Haven't listened to any of his music yet, so I don't really know what to expect. It should be interesting. With all that being said guys, I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. You can follow my VidMe channel under the name CDTVProductions. That's just there as a little extra video channel of mine on the side. It's exact same videos though, but it'd just be nice to have you on there. I'm verified on VidMe now. Yeah. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram under the name CDTVProductions. Hope you guys all enjoyed that reaction video from C&D Productions yesterday. Thank you so much for watching guys. I'll hopefully see you all in the next one. And this is CDTV Productions, signing out.